Hello, I'm Chris Howard, and this is Awesome Strength. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing my 2019 competitions and an honest review. So let's jump straight in. So today's video is going to be me discussing in an honest review my competition from 2019. So that is going to be Birmingham Strongest Man, Coalville Strongest Man, and the dedicated push-pull. So let's start with Birmingham Strongest Man. So this took place in August of 2019. The one thing I can remember mostly of that day is it was fucking roasting. It was on the bank holiday weekend, so I competed about 3 days before my birthday. And yeah, it was just fucking ridiculous. It was like 28 degrees, not the most fucking ideal to compete in, but as a first comp to like learn that lesson that heat sucks, it was a fucking good way to jump in. So in terms of events, there was log press to start with, then there was the deadlift, the farmer's walk, the tire flip, which was 250 kilo for 8 reps in the quickest time, and then finally stone over yoke. In terms of the day, obviously it being a first competition, like there was slight nerves, but nothing that major really. I trained as good as I could for it. I felt good, and yeah, I guess once the first event was out of the way, that the nerves just went. I felt good. It was just a really enjoyable day, and I think that's probably the biggest thing I can say to people is, with that first competition, you are going to be nervous, and that's natural. But I think just doing that first event gets it out of the way, and then the rest of the day just fucking enjoy it because it's such a good thing to compete, and I love it, and I'll never fucking look back. In terms of the result, I came 5th. That was out of about 26 or 27 people, so not a bad result for the first time. On the day, fucking, there was loads of people there, so to come in, do a first competition and finish 5th, that was sick. I was pretty consistent through the day. So on the log press, I finished 5th, and then pretty much every other event, I was in 5th place. So that's why I finished 5th, is because I was 5th all the way through. So consistency was pretty cool. And yeah, may as well jump onto the next one. So Coalville Strongest, that was then in the October of 2019. So this was a really weird event in the way that it was structured, because how it ran was kind of the opposite way of how any other comp would run. So the first event was Atlas Stones, which is usually the last event of a competition. And because it was an indoor event, it was like a dojo cum strongman gym. So all the stones were rubber coated. And I don't know if anyone's ever experienced rubber coated Atlas Stones, but they are a bitch to pick up. Obviously, we weren't allowed to use tacky because it was indoors and they were rubber coated. So we had to use chalk only. And that was just so hard. The height was not friendly for someone that's 5'8". It literally was probably about to my chin. So yeah, that was tough. Then the next event was the pressing medley. So that was axle, log press, yoke press, and kettlebell press. So it was one press for each arm. Then there was deadlift, frame carry, deadlift, frame carry. So what that means is you'd carry it 10 meters, drop it, deadlift it, turn, and then take it back. And then the final event of the day was a hammer hold. That for me was fucking sick. I've seen that on telly so many times. To actually get the chance to do it, it was pretty cool. Again, how it kind of went, there was only 7 or 8 of us competing then. So I was pretty confident all the way through that I would podium. I think I let myself down slightly on the stones. I expected more than 5, but the height and the fact we couldn't use tacky just threw me. Then in terms of the deadlift, I performed better than I thought I would. At the time, it was I think my best deadlift was probably 205, I think, and the deadlift was 180. So I went in thinking get 5, that'd be good, and I ended up with 7. Arguably 6. The 7th I wouldn't have given myself, so for the ref to give me the 7 was pretty lucky. And then the press medley, flew through that. That was really easy for me. And then to finish on a hammer hold that I hadn't really trained that well. In the gym, we've got like the end of a barbell that we could kind of load up, but it's just not the same. So going into that kind of blind, but I was stubborn. I kind of had no idea where I was in the standings, because unlike a normal strongman competition, the next event wasn't based on your current placing. So there was just no giveaway, so I just had to fucking grin, bear and hold. And finished second. So that was cool for the second competition to finish second. Sadly, that one was no trophy. It was a certificate. Bit odd, but I've still got the certificate somewhere. Fuck knows where. So the final competition of 2019 was the dedicated push-pull. This for me was more of a test. It was just to have fun. I kind of didn't go in with any expectations. I knew I was competing against some tough guys. So the first events were the log press. So they originally were going to say there was going to be openers that you had to hit before you could progress. They dropped that just before the event. So I opened at 100 kilo, which was quite above everyone else's opener, other than probably 1 or 2 people. So I knew I was always going to finish well in the log. So the 100 went really quickly. Then I went to 110, which was a fucking weight that I had got stuck on so many times in training. So if you've seen the video of my 110, you see me scream at the log because I was just that fucking happy at lifting it. And then in the third lift, me and Steve Jenkinson kind of had a little conversation about what we were going to go for next. Steve said 112.5. I kind of wanted to go one better like a dickhead and said 115. So Steve matched me. Steve hit it. I missed it. So there's the biggest lesson, folks. Don't overshoot unless you fucking know you're going to get close to it. So that was the log. That finished. So I was finished second in the log. Then in the deadlift, historically my worst event, I started at 205, which was my current PB at the time. Hit that, the easiest I've ever hit anything. Then I went to 215, which was a PB, and then finished on 225, which for me was great. However, compared to everyone else, that A put me last, but B, like my 225 finisher was everyone else's like second lift or like their opener even. So that kind of taught me the lesson that I really need to improve my deadlift. It's got a lot better this year. Not by much, but it's ever improving. I think for me, the biggest thing that I look back on now is realizing that my pulls from the floor were really bad. Historically, they always have been. But that's one thing that I, especially towards the back end of last year, was what I've really been working on. And it's definitely paying off. So I'm hoping for some better numbers this year. So that's my honest review, really. I know it's been pretty quick, but enjoy. And if you haven't watched the videos yet, they are on my page. So give them a watch and like, comment, subscribe as always. And of course, be safe, be strong, be awesome.